Let's say you have, again, area, radius, and there's two towns within the radius of 3,000 amot from each other. The end of the town on this side is within 3,000 amot from the end of the town on this side. That means that each person from this town could walk 2,000 amot in this direction. This guy walked 2,000 amot here, and this guy walked 2,000 amot here. So there is this overlapping area of 1,000 amot between them. So it says like this, that the Mishnah teaches that a person from city A may not take an object brought to the common area by a resident of city B and carry it out of that city's tchum back to his own city. So let's say a guy from this city here, he walked over into the overlapping, so to speak, zone. Again, we have we have two cities. They are within diameter of 3,000 amot. Each one is allowed to go 2,000 this way, 2,000 this way. They have overlapping area. Let's say a guy came together with his bread. He came for a picnic to eat Suda, or he brought with him talit, he brought with him sidur. He brought it from his town to the overlapping area. He's allowed to do that. And the guy from this town came to overlapping area. But that guy from this town wants to now borrow his sidur and take it back to him, to his house, hometown. Can he do it?
But it's been more than 2,000.
He's allowed to walk that. He's allowed to walk and carry the entire 2,000 amot. Can he take the other guy's sidur? What do you say, sir?
Where's the sidur?
Do you hear the question?
Where's the
I hear the question. Yeah, the object itself is what itself that cannot travel from one city to the next, even though it's not being carried by the same person, because it's a different person that's already carrying.
Yeah. So chidush. Yeah. So object also has a limit of where it could go. It could only go. It could only be carried by any one Jew. Any Jew in the world could carry within 2,000 amot of its owner.
So if he brings it into the gray area, puts it on the table, and then the person comes out from let's say, person from village A comes to the gray area, and the person from village B comes to the gray area. The person from village A leaves the sidur on the table, goes back home. But he allows the other guy to take it. So the other guy from village B takes it, he cannot take it to the...
Cannot take it because it has a limit of the owner's tchum.
What if he releases his ownership?
Okay, that's
temporary.
What do you mean, owner's tchum? Why is it relevant about the owner's tchum if someone else is carrying it?
That's an excellent question.
Like if I live in Arizona and someone's borrowing my book and they want to read it in New York and he wants to go from here to there, it's out of my tchum, you can't take it.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Wait.
But it depends on the distance.
On Shabbat either way he cannot take it. What do you mean?
Since he has an Arab or Shabbat.
From where?
But he
So
says
Chag he's allowed to, but Shabbat is not allowed
at
to?
certain distances.
Chag, I'm not sure. We're
Why
talking
is it
about
relevant if
Shabbat
it's
or
my
Chag?
tchum or his tchum?
Not only that, look, it says like this. Someone who gives his object to his son or an animal to a shepherd, these animals are accorded a tchum like that of the owner and not the tchum of the son of shepherd. So even if he entrusts it to someone who he trusts, it's like the owner's tchum. 20. It says, Tchum boundaries are determined at the onset of Yom Tov for that entire day. Since the animal had not been entrusted to the son or shepherd before Yom Tov, it already assumed the tchum of its owner. Oh, so first of all, it says over in the commentaries, if he would give it to the shepherd before Yom Tov, then it's not. Then it would be like the shepherd's tchum.
If it's before Yom Tov.
Before Yom Tov. But since he didn't give it before Yom Tov, he gave it on Yom Tov. The once it assumed on Erev Yom Tov, it gets that halacha. It gets that halacha. I hear a little bit of logic. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you why. You tell me later. You'll figure it out. Then it says, however, had the owner given it to the shepherd before Yom Tov began, the animal would have been subject to the shepherd's tchum, as the Gemara will explain, since it is the owner's intention that it remain in shepherd's care for that day. Okay.
So it basically inherits the tchum of whoever was in possession when they came into Shabbat or Chag.
When Shabbat started, Chag started, right?
It doesn't. It only applies to Jewish people, or let's say if a Goyish messenger comes and picks it up and
Also,
carries it.
so it's interesting. If a goy, there's a different halacha. We learned earlier that if a goy brings something as a present to you, but you could determine that it's outside of your tchum, then you can't use it. In other words, like this. Every person knows what's available within his tchum, within his 2,000 armor. If, for whatever reason, at some point, a goy brings you something that's not available. Let's say, he brings you a deer, a hunted deer or captured deer. I'm going to give it to you. You just settle down. I think it's different Masechta. Look at the Mishnah. Yeah. Okay. What page? Page Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph. And Mishnah. It says Mem Tav Nun Yud. Mem Tav Nun Yud. Let's start learning. B'ezrat Hashem. We want to finish on time. 9:30. We have 50 minutes. Let's go. Okay. I think you guys can come in and we'll see. Where is it? Mishnah, you'll see Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph towards the bottom of the page. Okay, it says like this. So, давай найдем Safari. 37A. Найди 37A. Hi.
This is
Come, close to Rabbi.
I don't have camera.
Don't worry, no one's going to see.
which
Вот здесь
is
это? Я тоже не понял.
The guys here don't like it. The guys watching online like it.
Which one is this?
Бейца,
They like it so
Masechta
much. Don't
Beitzah.
come here. Huh? They like it so much. Don't come here. I'll send them the address.
Mishnah?
37, no, it's Gemara. It's Gemara.
Still, still once a week they can fly.
Есть. Спасибо. Тогда мне тоже сделай, пожалуйста.
Помочь, Рамбам?
Марк тоже хочет.
Go together.
Yeah.
37A?
Bring the whole cattle.
Listen, you're gonna ask him, man.
Rabbi, you said 37?
37A, yeah. And towards the bottom, you scroll down, you'll see Mishnah.
On Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph, no?
Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph, yeah.
What does it start off with?
The animal, habehema v'akelim. gonna get to the Mishnah. Let's go back. Yeah, you're right. We are in the previous sugya. Okay, yeah, here we are. Okay, the Tanya. We'll learn in the Rabbi. We're gonna be here. First word online is Rabbi Yeshua. You see? No, mistake. Yeshua. First word is Yeshua. You see?
Yes.
It says like this. The Tanya will learn in the Braita. Oto ve'et beno. This is a famous mitzvah in the Torah that says that if you have a mother and a child, which is animals, or a child of a cow, child of a female sheep, or child of female goat, it says, Oto ve'et beno lo tishchatu b'yom echad. The mother and child do not shecht on the same day. You ever heard of this?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's considered to be cruel to shecht the mother and the child on the same day.
Interesting.
But they see each other, or it doesn't matter.
No, seeing is prohibited even if it's not mother and child. In Shechita, there's a halacha that when you shecht an animal, you've shecht a few animals, one after another. You're supposed to make sure that you protect those that you didn't shecht yet from seeing how you're shechting the current one.
So you can't shecht an animal from another animal.
Yes.
How do they do that in the farm? They have a million animals.
What do you mean? They shecht in a
Let's
separate
say
room.
you're doing chickens, right? You do kaparot, they do chickens. They shecht them right there and then there's a million other chickens around.
It doesn't have to be like, thank you very much. If the chicken is in a crate, the way it works is that the chickens are in a crate and you're shechting outside of crate. So to say that they see that far or up from that, we're not afraid. We're talking about when they literally see you're next to it.
Very next to
So, yeah, most of the time it's applicable to real big animals because they understand that. Even chickens also understand, but basically the way it works in the farms, or it works in, thank you very much, the way it works is that,
I'm gonna
thanks,
take
man.
pictures in a minute.
Paparazzi. So sister.
Wait, let me put the stuff away. I don't have my bags on the table.
let me just show you where we are. Okay? You have it. First one is, no, we're going to start earlier. Maybe, yeah, maybe.
You take mine, let me take mine.
So,
What do you mean?
this is going to be our case tonight. There is a Isur in the Torah, prohibition in the Torah to share two relatives, father and son, or mother and son, on the same day. Gemara says that it's only applicable to the mother and her child. It's not applicable to the male, to the father. Anyone knows why? Yes? No, that's the reason why you can't share mother and her son.
Because the son came from the mother?
But the father, for example, it doesn't. You could share the male and the child. Because we don't...
Chicken, you're saying?
Any animal, or any kosher animal.
How do you know who's the father?
Yes, that's the point. By animals, we don't know who the father is.
So you want to know what the mother is?
We don't know his mother.
Unless you have like a chicken coop and like one rooster, right? Then you kind of know who the father is.
No, still not. Gemara says that
Still?
you could never control, because if there are any roosters within 60 feet,
Unless.
there is a measurement, I think even kilometer,
Yeah.
then he's going to find his way to the chicken. Yeah, roosters, you can't. It's considered to be like the worst.
We get our drivers.
That's the worst thing. But anyway, listen, this is
We
normal.
learned the drives from the chicken, no?
What?
I remember you saying some
laying eggs, right? But we're learning that the rooster, it says in different Gemara, that Talmid Chacham should not be found by his wife like a rooster by a chicken.
What does that mean?
Meaning,
Not too much. No.
Talmid Chacham should not be be with his wife, jump on his wife too much, too often.
Rooster does that?
Like a rooster, and the comparison to the rooster. So obviously, you see, a rooster is someone who does
This is very active.
very active, hyperactive. But anyway, so fine.
But their nature, I'm saying.
It's nature. It's not. We're not blaming anybody. We're not putting anyone down.
For rooster, it's good. No, that's what I'm saying, for rooster.
Yeah, it's good. That's why we have so much eggs.
Chickens.
Whatever. It's totally good. It's.
One chicken,
I'm
$6.99.
totally okay with that.
Polish.
Chickens lay them every day. They don't carry them for 9 months. That's what I told her, right?
Yeah.
Chickens lay an egg every
They're
day,
like- yeah. So the chicken itself is hyperactive. You know.
Chickens. It's a hyperactive species.
Species. Yeah.
Because we need eggs.
Right. So, okay. So now, it says in the Torah, again, that you're not allowed to shech the mother and her son, her daughter, or son, daughter, on the same day. Now, I just want to quickly want to point out that it doesn't apply to the father. It doesn't apply to the father because we don't know if this is the father, the exact father. We don't know that it's this child's father. How do we know that it's a mother? Because only mother will take care of her child. The child will always follow. It says that the child follows the mother, and mother takes care of the child, and that is the siman that this is his mother's child. Even if you didn't see her giving birth, but you see that they have this relationship of mother and the child, so you can't check them on the same day. Now, Ramban said very well. Why is it? The Torah teaches us mercy. The Torah teaches us. Some say they don't explain this mitzvah like that. But really, Hashem just gave a mitzvah, and we're not allowed to give reasons for mitzvahs. We just have to do them. But others say that you could say that it's that Hashem teaches us mercy. Fine.
It is logical. There's a logical argument.
This is the right?
They are right. So the case that we're going to be discussing now is follows. If the mother and her child fell on Yom Tov into a pit, and they're in danger, you may lose them. They're going to die. You want to bring them up. Are you allowed to do this on Yom Tov?
Yes.
Okay.
Now,
Saying that
we know that
to shech the animal.
we know that the only time you're allowed to use the animal, handle an animal, is to shecht it because of food for Yom Tov. Ochel nefesh, food that you will
No, you need
utilize.
only one behemoth for him.
But you not only that,
No,
you
so you
can't.
have-
You can't eat both of them on
Correct.
today
So can
Yeah.
you say
because
one? Who do you say-
because the child and the mother.
Only one.
You can't say you could only shecht one.
Yeah, I got
No,
it.
but let's say if you have a big party and you're doing 2, and if you need 2 animals, but still, the problem is that they're mother and
Exactly.
child.
Correct.
So it's
You
not
you
a-
may be able to utilize all that meat,
Right.
but you just cannot check them both today.
I understand how.
So one will have to be today, and the other one could be tomorrow.
Well, one is the
But tomorrow is not Yom
One is
Tov.
the Rabbanan, right? Shechting. You can't shech. The right, you're allowed to kill the animals, right? For Yom Tov.
Yes.
So if I'm sorry, right? So the right that you can't
Shecht it,
shech. So obviously,
so it becomes muktzah. It becomes unusable. It's off your limits.
right, because the right takes over the Rabbanan, right?
Right. Good. You have a problem. In other words, you could only right now save one. The way things stand now, you could only bring out one
From the pit.
from the pit.
Is it a trapping?
So why can't you
They
say?
fell. You didn't trap them.
You are extracting them from the trap. It may be trapped now, but you're not trapping anymore. You're taking them out. You didn't.
Don't you have an obligation to rescue both of them out of the, if they're still alive? I don't understand. They're still alive or they're already dead?
They fall
They're
down
alive.
the they're alive.
So if they're alive, what's the problem?
They're gonna
Not
die if you don't
chest,
take 'em
chest. You don't have
No,
to
because
chest.
a coyote can kill them. You know, if you leave
It's
them.
a-
You're not
You
allowed
probably
to
have an
take them
obligation.
alone.
Take the light. You probably have an obligation to save them because you're not allowed to trap them. And since it's your pit, it would be like stavit kapkan. You know.
He didn't trap them.
No, they failed. And
They fell.
I take an issue with your obligation to save them. And you're saying a few things. You have obligation to save them, and then you say you're not allowed to trap them. Obligation to save, I understand like one idea.
Financial damage.
You're not allowed to trap them. That's not the idea. Like can you pick
Rabbi,
one of
we
those?
learned in the
What do you mean really?
Rabbi, didn't we learn in the beginning that the monetary laws, you can save?
And the answer is no, not necessarily. Just because you're going to lose, you're not allowed to. We learned earlier that if there is a big loss, like for example, you have fruit on top of the roof,
Right.
that now it's raining. Can you go up and start schlepping down the sacks? It's going to get ruined, but it's a very big tircha. It's a very big exhaustion on the other. The answer is no.
So you can ask.
Maybe we could ask a goy, isn't it? But over here, we say that you don't have to ask a goy. We have a chacham say you have the following idea. Let's see it inside. It says like this. This is what he has to do. Rabbi Eliezer says, Ma'aleh et rishon, he brings one up al minat l'shochto. Brings one up in order to shecht it. V'shochto, and you shecht it. V'asheni oseh lo parnasa b'mekamo. K'dei shelo yamut. And the second one, Rabbi Eliezer, now halach is not like Rabbi Eliezer. Halach is like Chacham, and we'll see in a minute. But Rabbi Eliezer says you could not bring up, there's no way to bring up two, because one of them is muktzah, and basically you bring up one in order to shecht it, you shecht it, and the second one, you throw down food for it, and that's it. If it dies, dies. If it doesn't die, it doesn't die. Rabbi Yeshua has the following trick. Ma'aleh et rishon, you bring one up in order to shecht it. You say, I need this one to shecht. You bring it up in order to shecht it. Ve'eno shechto. But then you say, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want to shecht this one. And then you bring the second one, uma'arim, uma'aleh hasheni, and you bring up the second one in order to shecht it. And then, once both of them up, you decide which one you want to shecht, and the other one you leave. What is he saying?
So then in the beginning you can bring both of them up to choose which one you want to share.
Oh, he's making a point that you can't do. You can't bring both of them up to choose, but you could do the following. There's a difference. You could bring one up as if you're going to shecht it. And then you say, 1 second, I'm not so happy with this animal. I think I have a better one down there. Let me check. Bring the second one up, and then compare them, and then shecht the one that you want. What's going on? What's the difference? What's the difference between the first case? I just bring both of them up, and then choose, or I bring one in order to shecht it, and only after say, I think I want to check the other one, see if it's better. Bring that one, and then choose between them. What's the difference?
Your action is legitimate. You're bringing up one to shecht it at the time. That's your intent.
Right. In other words,
Is it the intent?
Mark's saying good, but it is the explanation. What do you want to say, Yehuda?
It sounds like your intent
Intent is
to
also
bring both of them
is
up.
to take both of them.
Right.
But you
Here's
somehow finagle it to take one at a time. But it's finagling. It's not real. When it's preemptive, it doesn't have validity to it.
In the first case,
Again, I think the best is to follow my instructions here. Try to show me a logical difference. Is there a difference between these two cases?
Of course.
I think if you will try to do that, you'll see. Right.
But is it preemptive? I understand the logical difference.
Show me difference.
Preemptive is a
Difference.
presupposition. Supposing it's
Hey, Yehuda, don't throw fancy words at me. Preemptive. No, you got to tell me logical difference means like this. Over here, A, case A, it's this, and case B is this. That's how I do it. When I ask you for a difference, I'm asking you to explain to me how is this different than that. So when you say that, what do you mean?
Okay. One, you openly take both of them, and one, you like yourself and
or somehow trick yourself. That's what it sounds like to me. You're tricking yourself into taking both of them out with the intent somehow taking one at a time. Meaning, I'll take this one, I'll check it. Then you say to yourself, no, let me check the other one. But you know for a fact you're going to take both out. You're just going to word it differently.
No, what if you're happy with the first one?
No, you don't understand.
That's what.
When I say what's the difference, look, Gemara says case A is prohibited, case B is permissible. We know that this is the difference. I'm asking why is case A prohibited? When I say what's the difference, I meant why case A is prohibited and case B is permissible.
Oh,
Again, what's case A?
okay. Case A.
You bring both of them up, and then you choose. What's the case B? You bring one up in order to shech. Then you say, I may want to shech the other one. You bring the second one in order to shech. And then you choose which one you're going to actually shech. So now, case A is prohibited. Case B is permissible. On the surface, it looks like they are similar. But why is one prohibited? One is not
In the first case,
prohibited.
I think he does more effort because he has to take two of them out at the same time. And the second one,
That's not what clinches it. That's not what clinches it. No.
but he thinks that he's going to take both of them in the first case. In the second,
Anybody else?
Because you have the second one, you know one of them for sure you're going to take out, it's not going to be for shifting, so it's going to be...
Oh, look,
I see what you're saying.
look. When we look at an action, is the action legitimate? You have to ask yourself, is the action legitimate or not? Is there anything non-kosher in the action? In the case A, there is a non-kosher component. Because when you're bringing up two animals, and only one could be shechted. Why? Because they're relatives. You can't shecht both of them. So you know that only one will be shechted. That means that the other one is a prohibited action. You bring up two animals. Let's say you need 4 guys to bring up 2 animals. That means that the 2 guys are doing mitzvah, and 2 other guys are doing avera. The 2 guys that brought the animal that that's going to be shechted, they did the mitzvah, and 2 guys that brought the animal that's going not to be shechted, they did an action on Yom Tov that does not lead to ochel nefesh, eating, and therefore it's prohibition. They transgressed. However, in the second case, when you brought one up in order to shecht, that action was 100% legitimate from beginning till the end. Then when you said, I may have another one that I want to shecht, better one, when you were bringing the second, when you were doing that second action, bringing up the second one, that was legitimate from beginning till the end again. So in the second case, each action is legitimate. You never did an avera. In the first case, there is a component of avera.
Component of what?
Avera.
Second one doesn't have a
Is
component.
it similar to the idea of like when you're supposed to boil 3 eggs?
Very similar idea. Gemara says, there's a more basic case. Gemara says like this. Let's say you have 2 pieces of kosher meat.
Right.
They're basically regular cube of meat that looks very standard, and then there is a third piece of the same piece of meat that gets mixed up between these 3 pieces. So what's the halacha? Am I allowed to eat the 3 pieces?
Yeah.
The halacha is yes. Question is now, there's machlok rishonim, Rosh and Rashbo. How am I allowed to eat it? According to Rosh, I'm only allowed to eat one at a time. I pick one, I eat it. Then I pick the second one, I eat it. And I pick the third one, I eat it.
So I don't know which one.
Because you don't know which one is non-kosher.
You take one of them out, you should say this one is non-kosher.
No, we say bitul. First of all, the reason why I'm not allowed to eat all of them, all 3 of them, is because of the concept of bitul. Bitul means nullification. And when we have a rov, we have majority, we'll always say that minority gets annulled.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
but
only-
it's not the shishim.
Isn't that only whenever you don't
No,
have
but there
a
you need
flavor?
rov. Shishiv is only if it's a wet and cooking mixture.
Rabbi, but isn't that
Spreads
only-
the taste.
Isn't that only if you don't taste the flavor of the non-kosher?
That's
part?
when it's cooked. Right now, these 3 pieces are not cooked together. They roasted on the shish kebab, separate. They're on 3 different sticks, but
the
they're
same fire.
mixed up.
With the same fire, all 3 should be put asur.
No, they're not asur.
Fire doesn't spread the taste.
Well, no, as long as they're not touching each other, fire does spread if they're touching. But if they're not, let's say even if they're on the same stick, but they are separated by 1 thumb, width of thumb. So each one, there's no taste. 2 of them are kosher. You know, theoretically, 2 of them kosher, and 1 is not kosher. The halacha is you're allowed to eat 3 of them. The question is when it says in halacha you're allowed to eat 3 of them.
How is it possible?
Halacha says that. And the question is, can I eat all 3 of them in 1 shot? In other words, take them all 3 or eat one after another. What's going on over here? Why is there machlokes?
Rabbi, why is the bugs not bitul, but the steak is bitul?
Again?
What if bugs and lettuce is not bitul, but the steak of, let's say...
There's pieces are in bitul.
The bugs.
Bugs are not bitul. Gemara says
Why?
that something which is complete creature, like an animal,
But
complete
you don't
animal.
see it with
It's
your
not.
eye.
It's not batel.
But you don't see it.
We're talking about, something that you don't see with your eye. Look, if I don't see it because I look at the leaf, I look at the salad. You won't be able to see in the salad even if you have a big cockroach in it.
I understand. I'm saying you
But
don't see
if
it,
you
but
check,
also.
no, that doesn't mean that you don't see it. If you would take a clean leaf and you would look at the sun, you would see it. If you would see it then, that means that it's visible to the eye and it's asur. You have to check. That's why you have to check each leaf before you make the salad.
And also it's different. Bug looks one way, leaf is different. These are 3 pieces of meat are not the same.
They're the same.
You can't.
You can't tell.
differentiate.
You can't. Very good.
If you see it's a pork, then it
Then
doesn't.
it doesn't, right? If you have 3 red
Rabbi,
pieces
I have
and
a
1
question. I have a
white
question.
like pork, it doesn't work.
You have 3 bags of lettuce. 2 is bodek and 1 is from the Nine Heads store.
Okay.
And they get mixed up together. You're allowed to eat all 3 of them?
Wash again.
No. Because over there, you're not trying to nullify the lettuce. You're trying to nullify the bugs that are in the lettuce.
So it's like a...
The bugs are
it's like
so,
a
not the
steak
actual.
steak, no?
I don't see fake in you. You have to explain what you mean, but I don't see fake. But anyway, let's get back to our case. So what's the halacha if there's 3 pieces like that? You're allowed to eat them. But according to Rosh, you're only allowed to eat them one after another.
Does it matter the size?
No. Why?
Because then you fall into the bottle issue.
No.
Oh.
No. One after another. Why? Because there is a law that any fragment of a whole has the status of the whole. If I have majority kosher pieces of meat, then in any one of them that I isolate is kosher. So when I pick up first piece of meat,
Kosher.
is it kosher? I say it came from majority kosher. This is kosher. I ate it. I pick up the second one. Is it kosher? It came from the majority of kosher. This is kosher. And I pick up the third one. I say, if this is kosher, that means I ate non-kosher.
I already ate.
But still, it comes from the majority of kosher. So this is also kosher. So therefore, you could only eat. However, you can't say that if you took all 3 and you're eating. Because when you took all 3 and you're eating, you for sure took the Isur included in this. It's not giving you status, you're not getting status of the majority, it came from majority. This one is majority. You say that you know that piece of non-kosher is there. And you're eating all of them in one shot. In other words, your action right now has a component of Isur. Has a component of Isur. Whereas if you take them one after another, there's no component of Isur. This is exactly the same Gemara. Look, Gemara says if both of them are in, if you take both of them out, you have the component of Isur here. However, if you take one after another, you could claim each one I'm going to shech. I changed my mind. I'm not going to check the previous one.
But at least this one I'm going to shecht now. So as long
you have to
as
put the other one back in?
No.
Oh, you took it out.
You can't touch it already.
What if you take both out?
Looks right? I'm sorry. Yeah?
Rabbi, what if you
very well, very good.
what if you take both out? You're like, oh, I'm gonna shake. No, maybe not. And you're like, you know what? I don't feel like shaking.
You're not allowed to take it.
Still, you have to shake it.
You can't. First of all, you cannot take both of them out. You mean
No,
one after another?
One after another, yeah.
So you said
And then you say, you know what?
Right.
This knife is no good. I'm not gonna shake.
That's also
You already
good.
lost your appetite by the
That's
time
also
you
good.
go out.
Because you don't have to shecht.
But
As
yes,
long as
before
as long as when you were taking it out, there was a intention to shecht.
Okay.
That gives you a permissibility to take it out. That's it. Our Torah is pretty flexible. I would actually put it that way. You know, with all the rigidity and all
Way
the
to do something that you.
our Torah is pretty flexible. Okay. That's why that's why we stick to our Torah. Our Torah is the most vast compared to other religions. It's broader and deeper compared to our religion. It could look to some people like, oh my gosh, I could never do this. I could never perform this. There are so many laws and details. But throughout the generations, we're stuck to our Torah. We cling to it, and we don't give it up because of the Gemaras like this, because of the concepts like this, because with all the demands and all the obligations, we have tremendous leeways and freedom and easy life. Our life is just great. So let's see. So Rabbi Yeshua, asking like Rabbi Yeshua, Omer ma'aleh et rishon al minat l'shochto. You take out the first one, al minat. Ayin mem means al minat. Al minat means with intention. L'shochto, to shecht it. Ve'eno shochto. And you don't shecht it. V'chozer, and go back, u'ma'arim. And then you, he uses the word ma'arim. Ma'arim means you trick. You trick. He recognizes. He admits that it's a little bit of a trick because you change your mind on purpose. And says you trick and umale sheini, you take out the first word is male, online. You bring the second one, ratzah ze shochet, ratzah ze shochet. What does that mean? Ratzah ze shochet, ratzah ze shochet.
I want to shake this one, I want to shake.
Whichever one you want, you could share. Amen. Amar le Abaye. Abaye told him, Mimai, how do you know this? Dilma, ad kam lo kam Rebbe Lazar hatam ela de efshar beparnosa. How do you know that Rabbi Eliezer always argues? Maybe over there he says, don't bring the second one up because Efshar B'Parnosa, you're able to somehow sustain the other animal inside the ditch. Aval hacha de lo Efshar B'Parnosa lo. But in the case before, where we're talking about the fruit that are on top of the roof, over there you can't save it in any other way. Maybe Rabbi Eliezer will agree, Inami, Ad kan lakam Rabbi Yeshua, or go the other way. Rabbi Yeshua only allowed it over there, Hatam, in the case of the animals, Ela de Evshar le'arume. Over there you're able to trick, to say, oh, I'm doing it for Shchita, oh, I'm doing this one for Shchita. Aval hacha de lo Evshar le'arume. But over here, there's no way to figure out a way to take down the sacks with wheat from the roof. And therefore, Rabbi Eliezer would also agree that it's asur lo. Ela amar Rav Papa lo kasha. Rav Papa says it's not a kasha. Ha bet Shammai, ha bet Hillel. This is bet Shammai and this is bet Hillel. The ones who say it's asur is bet Shammai. The one who says it's mutar is bet Hillel. The Tnan in the Mishnah bet Shammai omrim ein motziin. Bet Shammai hold you're not allowed to carry loyet katan, not a child, v'loyet lulav, and not a lulav, v'loyet sefer Torah. L'rishut harabim. Bet Shammai machmirim not to carry on Yom Tov, but only food itself. You see, they're only talking about child, lulav, and sefer Torah. What's the common denominator in between these three things? The non-foods. Bet Shammai don't argue that you can't carry, period. They're just saying when Torah says you're allowed to carry, you're only allowed to carry food. for the purpose of eating.
Cooking
For
related.
whatever cooking related. Therefore, your child with the carriage, no. Then it says lulav, even though it's mitzvah, no. And then they say bigger chidush, even if it's to read in the shul, Sefer Torah, otherwise you wouldn't be able to read. Also no. But the Hillel allow. Now, what do Bet Hillel hold? That was interesting. Torah only allows to carry on Yom Tov for food. So how do Bet Hillel know that you could carry everything? The answer is, if Torah allows you to carry food, that means the actual action of carrying is not prohibited.
Right.
If that action is not prohibited, that means they could carry anything.
Rabbi, when you mentioned lulav,
We're asking like Bet Hillel, that we carry lulav today.
then according to Bet Shammai, we're not on Yom Tov, on Sukkot, we're not allowed to shake lulav.
No.
No, in your house. Or bring it to shul beforehand. Like on Shabbat. The Shabbat, you bring your talit before Shabbat, or you bring your siddur before Shabbat. Everyone will have to bring it before.
Yeah, but everybody doesn't shake lulav. Same thing with shofar.
Yeah, that's afterwards. They really, according to Torah, even on Shabbat you would have to blow shofar. On Shabbat you would have to shake lulav.
Yeah.
You know that it's
But because of carrying, we don't do it.
Because we don't allow it. But we're talking about on the deraita level. He was asking, okay, if Bet Shammai never allow you to carry lulav, then how can you shake lulav on Yom Tov? Or even if it's not Shabbat, even on Yom Tov. I just said it doesn't have to be. You could bring it before.
On Shabbat for sure you're not allowed to shake.
But Shabbat, everyone agrees that we don't do it. But
it was the Rabbanan that he
Is the Rabbanan. Is that a
So how the Rabbanan can go against mitzvah of the Torah to do aseh?
Rabbanan allowed? Yeah, they actually, you see, they said that since they cancel it out in passive way, not in active transgression, they're just saying not to do something. They're not saying to go against it. Rabbanan would never be able to tell us to go against the Torah in an active way. That they realize they can.
Make it more strict.
But over here, they still going against the Torah. They're saying, don't do mitzvah of shofar if Rosh Hashanah comes out on Shabbat. Don't do mitzvah of lulav if first day comes out on Shabbat. And we didn't do it this year. And the reason why it says in different Gemara, the reason why Rabban allowed to do it is because it's mitzvah taseh, and in order to transgress it, you just don't do something. You don't do something. It's not like you do something actively. You just don't do a mitzvah. That they allowed to.
So technically we can do it at home, even.
Today?
Yeah.
Why do you say that? If they said no, they said everywhere. You want to know?
It's muktzah.
But they
In
said
fact, they said it because of home, because they said maybe you will carry it from home to the shul. So it's more problematic if it's at home.
yeah, but the problem is with carrying.
Problem is carrying.
Okay, so they prohibit you from carrying to the shul, but if I'm not going to carry it to the shul, I'm just going to blow it at home. What's the problem?
They said that anytime you could do this mitzvah, there is a danger that maybe you'll carry it. Maybe you'll carry it to shul. Maybe you'll carry it to your mother's house to blow for her. Maybe you'll carry it to your rabbi to teach you, to give you pointers how to blow. There's many different possibilities. So that's why they said no. Okay, let's finish till the Mishnah and start the new Mishnah. So Gemara says, "Bet Hillel allow it. Dilma lo he ad kan lo ka amri bet Shammai hatam ela ahotzaa aval tilto lo ad tilto lav tzarichet." So Gemara says that maybe Bet Shammai only prohibited it to carry, but tiltul, which is muktzah, they didn't prohibit.
What's tiltul?
Tiltul is muktzah.
Oh, that's the same thing.
Tiltul is muktzah. It's the same thing. Gemara says Do you know that muktzah, one of the reasons why Chachamim prohibited muktzah is because of hotzah, because of carrying. This line over here, some Rishonim bring it as another explanation for muktzah. Normally, we know that certain things are prohibited because of muktzah. Like money, bills, coins, tools. This is all muktzah. Electronic. Now, why is it prohibited? We always think because it's a malacha. You could do something with it. Maybe you will write, if you money, you'll write down a shtar, a document. If with tools, you could do malacha, prohibited. It says in this Gemara that yes, you're right, but it's also because of hotzah. Comes out, Chachamim was so scared about carrying. One of the reasons why they prohibited muktzah is because of carrying. You see, not only they prohibited shofar on Shabbat, lulav on Sukkot, if it comes out on Shabbat, but they also prohibited muktzah. The entire muktzah concept is also because of carrying. And this shows you that carrying was very high on Chachamim's mind. And the reason is because my Rabbi explained, because people don't view carrying as a big problem. Because what's carrying? I'm not changing anything. I'm not creating. I'm just carrying from one point to another. So in the eyes of the people, it doesn't seem like a big affair. It's like big.
It's a very passive act. It's not such an active act.
Yeah. And because of that, Chachamim put all this extra chumrot. And one of the things my Rabbi explained that they put this chumrot is not to make a roof in big cities, the cities that have more than 600,000 people, not to make a roof, and everyone should just stay and not carry on the streets. So that's why we don't carry today in Brooklyn. We're not allowed to carry. There are some people who publicize that you're allowed to.
Lots of communities that you're allowed to. Start City, Seagate, they have Arabs all over the place.
Georgetown is Arab.
But even in Brooklyn.
Seagate, he agreed that you're allowed to because it's surrounded by water on three sides.
That's why. Georgetown also.
All Coney Island is surrounded by water on three sides.
When you say Coney Island, is where?
The
Where's
whole
that?
strip of Coney Island. Actually, all of New York, the whole Long Island is surrounded on water on three sides.
No. If we have 600,000 people, then even the whole world is also, America is also surrounded by what are four sides. No? Okay, two sides, whatever.
Our globe is surrounded by you.
But if
So
our continent is North America, or the whole Western Hemisphere is surrounded.
Long Island, there's
That's what they
600,000 people there?
Of course.
Yeah, Long Island is huge.
Of course. Brooklyn has like 3 million.
Yeah.
Manhattan's not part of Long Island.
Doesn't matter. Long Island, the whole after Queens, of course, probably 1.5 million people live there.
Yeah,
Rabbi, is this considered surrounded by water?
Easy.
Georgetown?
Like
Yeah.
empty lands over there.
You look
Yeah,
it looks
Queens,
like
that's
In
why.
5 towns,
How many Bukhari was in Queens?
Right?
80,000.
It's like a dead end, like a little.
Yeah, it's very nice.
nobody's talking about
American.
that.
They allow it.
Queens is not.
Okay, the rabbis allowed it. That's why.
Queens is the second largest populated.
So if it's less than
borough.
600,000?
Georgetown has less than
Queens,
600,000
Brooklyn,
people.
Staten Island.
Seagate is problem, but once you step out Seagate, we say that it's part of.
Yeah, but Seagate also has like a gate. It's legitimately like
Yeah.
segregated.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So it's as close to a.
Yeah, Seagate, no questions, no questions. About it.
Nice place, right? Seagate.
Yeah, we have people who live
Very
there.
nice
Yeah,
place.
we'll live there. Yeah.
Rabbi, okay, let's start next Mishnah. I see some people living in. Oh,
Yeah, it's too controversial for me.
okay, Rabbi. So now we're now going to start
It's not cheap anymore.
the following question. You know that on Shabbat and Yom Tov we're not allowed to carry or walk more than actually 2,000 amot. It's called Tchum Shabbat. Tchum means boundary.
So no hikes.
No. That's one of the reasons why you can't do it. Chas v'chalila. Shabbat is created for resting,
You
not
walk from
going
like
for hikes.
770 to like all over, like on Shabbat.
Oh, so in town, so it's like this. When within you, if you are within the boundaries of your town, municipality,
Okay, I got you.
municipality,
Like
you
you
could walk
said,
anywhere.
town is 600,000 people.
Where?
Brooklyn is a couple of million of people, and they walk from Crown Heights to Seagate. Takes 3 hours.
The boundary, the tchum, is not dependent on 600,000 people.
What is it?
Yeah, that's not dependent.
It's upstate,
It's
village to
dependent
village.
on your physical location. Wherever you are, if you're outside of within the city, again, within the city,
city. Brooklyn is the city.
yes.
Yeah.
So as long as you're in Brooklyn, you can go from
Wherever you wanna go.
Brownsville to Seagate.
And to Manhattan, all over, the 5
Yeah.
towns, yeah.
5 boroughs is one
Yes,
city.
it's all the same.
But
Yeah,
Manhattan would be over the bridge, no?
it's over the bridge, but it's still the same city. I have the, I don't know. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, people did walk, we have evidence, we have precedents with big rabbis, they went from Brooklyn to Manhattan, Lower East Side, to Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, to meet him, yes. So you're allowed.
But the
Al Shabbat.
Long Island probably going to be a problem, right? Because it's like
Like village to village, and there's like.
Yeah, over there is different, yeah, over there are villages.
highways.
Yeah, okay. So once if you're inside the city, you have no problem. We're going to be discussing where there's villages. We have to put ourselves in there.
Is it there right now?
Is there right there? So now, we're going to now discuss two towns that are 3,000 amot away from each other. In other words, there is one town here, and 3,000 amot, there is another town.
So they can meet in the middle.
Town A, town B.
Yeah.
Person in town A is allowed to walk 2,000 amot till
Yes.
here. Person from town B is allowed to walk 2,000 amot till here. So there is a buffer zone of 1,000 amot
In the middle.
where they are able to mingle, to interact. I'd say I'm from town A, I'm allowed to bring my stuff with me to this area, but I'm not allowed to bring my stuff or walk further. The person from this town could bring his stuff to this area. I could even eat his stuff. Let's say he brought food. I could eat his stuff in this area, but I'm not allowed to take his food and take it. Oh, no. But he cannot take his food further. Question is, am I allowed to take his stuff that came from this town, and he brought it here, and am I allowed to take it with me to my town?
No.
Excellent. You're right.
Common sense. If it's 2,000 amot is the limit, that's the cutoff line.
But there's a chiddush here.
Yeah, but he's bringing it.
Even though it's just an inanimate object, he's not going to go to my town.
Right.
But it's his food or his siddur, whatever it is. The siddur has restrictions. A siddur cannot be transported by any Jew outside of the owner's tchum, boundary, allowable space to walk. Can you imagine? So it's not only me, but it also all my objects,
Your property.
my property. They cannot also be transported by someone else. He himself, maybe that someone else could walk.
We're talking about Yom Tov.
Yeah. Shabbat also.
Shabbat you're not allowed to
But
carry.
Shabbat not allowed to care. Okay, fine. You're right.
So, but what if the owner releases his ownership of the object temporarily? Can the other guy take it?
The problem is on Yom Tov, you're not allowed to make transactions like
Yeah,
that.
you can't make these.
It's not a transaction;
declarations.
it's just a release of ownership.
What if you're
Yeah, no,
But you need more than that. Oh, there is two types. Either, it's a great question. If he releases his ownership, do I have to acquire it?
Alright, what if someone lost something?
You don't need to
found
acquire.
it?
Most of the time, releasing of the ownership will not create a heter if it didn't exist before. If there was an isur on this object of going into that location, just releasing the owners will not take away the het.
The
The
issue still
isur.
exists. It got there somehow,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But doesn't matter if he's just borrowing his, let's say,
Even borrowing. Once it gets now, tchum is determined on erev Yom Tov, right? At the moment when Yom Tov comes in, wherever the owner is, that's where the object, the location is. For example, let's say owner is on this side of the town, and his object is here. So normally, the owner would have 2,000 amot in there around him. But let's say the object is here, and object cannot. If owner comes, picks up his object at this side, he could still take it out more than the 1,000 amot to the other side, even though the actual object will traverse more than 2,000 amot. But since the owner could do it, could go there, therefore his object also has that ability to go. That was like this. You have 2,000, a diameter of 2,000 around you. And therefore all your possessions have your diameter. Let's say one of your possessions is at the edge of your allowed diameter, right? Over here. 2,000 amot to the east. We don't say that this possession has its own 2,000 amot, but it has your 2,000 amot. That means that it could go 2,000 amot to where you were, and another 2,000 amot in this direction. Altogether, 4,000 amot.
The radius is 2,000.
That's going to be more than 2,000.
The radius, not the diameter. Diameter is 2,000 total.
Radius is from the center to the side.
Right.
That's not helping us here. No. To the center.
So you said it go 2,000 here, 2,000 here, you can go 2,000 all around, you just said, right?
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a radius of 2,000.
Right. You said diameter, so I'm thinking it's half.
You're right. It's a radius of 2,000.
Right.
But it becomes a diameter if we're viewing you
As
on the
center
side.
of the circle.
On the side. If you're on the center, it's a radius.
Yeah.
But if you're on the side, then
So what's the basis? Is the town, I guess, right? Or where you are? The town is the basis, right? As the center.
no, we're talking about you are in the village, or you are right between the two villages.
So the village is the
So
center,
it's
correct?
it's not the village that's center. You where you are is the center. If you are in town,
So if you live at the edge of town, you can go 2,000 a month.
if you live in town, then you have 2,000 amot from the last house on the outskirts of the
Okay.
town. Let's say you found yourself right outside the town on Erev Yom Tov.
You probably belong to that town.
No, you have 2,000 amot
Okay.
around you. Okay, I guess it's getting late. Let's stop here, and this is what we're going to pick up to next one. Tuesday night. Thank you for coming. We should have a good week.
And
Good Shana.
45 pictures.
I'm trying to make these pictures.
Different angles.
Probably more. It's like a wedding.
When you watch TV, it's always one angle, or they.
You know what it is?
Sure, it's the professionalism.
When you get new toys,
This-
you want to
this
play.
stuff
Can you send the audio